1991, I believe, is when I joined IAC. Started out as a small contractor. I've been a contractor since 1993. I've been in the electrical field since 1970. So that might age me as far along as some of you guys are. I see there's some newer ones and some older ones that are around. I guess first of all, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. Originally, I'm from northern Illinois, so I'm familiar with a lot of the things that happen in Illinois. A lot of politics that go on, especially around Chicago. So just Rock Falls, Illinois, which is about 100 miles straight west of Chicago, right on Route 30 that it goes through there. So how many other Illinoisans do we have here? Okay, Indiana? Must be the rest of you, okay. Great, it's about a pretty good mix then. I'm not sure about the politics that goes on in Indiana. I'm sure you probably face a lot of the same problems, difficulties that small business people are faced with, contractors are faced with. Illinois is probably up there at the top as far as difficulties in working through state issues anyway. Missouri, right now we're fortunate in, it's just changed, we just got a Democrat voter in as governor, but we're still, Republicans still control the House and the Senate in Missouri, so that's in our favor. And that's been our way for the past, I think, 2 election cycles, so we're doing fine in that. The governor's going to make some changes there. We know there's going to be some major changes coming on the national scene that's going to drift down all the way to the local level. One of those issues is the Employee Free Choice Act. EFCA is called, some people call it card check. It goes by a lot of different things, but the biggest fallacy of it is not the Free Choice Act. And that's, I think, a lot of things are coming to the forefront. You hear a lot about it in the news today. You hear a lot of news people talking about it, a lot of press things talking about it on radio. Before the election, nobody really said anything about it. Nobody knew anything about it. But now that the Democrats have taken over control of the House and Senate, they have control of the presidency, it's becoming a big issue. And it's going to affect the economy in a bad way. And I think a lot of people realize how bad it could be for this country, especially based upon the financial condition that we're in. Who has actually heard of the Employee Free Choice Act? Everybody here? Pretty much so. What do you know about it?
I've written all my representatives.
Great.
Against it.
Good. Do you know a little bit about it? A lot about it?
A lot.
You know how bad it's going to affect you if it happens?
Yes.
I think most of you are probably smaller contractors. About 5, 10 employees, is that pretty much what everybody has in that neighborhood? Okay. You guys are the targets. The easiest targets out there, if this happens, is going to be for the smaller contractor to get organized. And the reason being is the organizers that work with the union are going to have a lot easier time to organize a few people versus larger contractors that have 50 or 100 people. They're going to have to get 50% plus 1 card signed. So it's going to be harder to track down 50 people. So everything that I've heard is they're going to start on the smaller contractors. It's easier. It's less work on their part. They can put more contractors out of business in a shorter time. And that's what essentially they're out to do anyway, just put us out of business. That's their goal. They don't want your people, they don't need your people, they just want the competition gone. And the Employee Free Choice Act has been around for several years, it's not new. The biggest problem that they had before is that we had Republicans in the Senate and House that fought against it. We had a president that would veto the act anyway. Now that's all changed. It's a whole new atmosphere out there. The National IAC Association, in conjunction with 550 other association groups that are represented in Washington, it's a well, I keep forgetting what that's called. Coalition for Democratic Workplace is what it's called. And Brian Worth, who is the national vice president in charge of government affairs, is the chair on that committee. So we have a pretty strong voice in that. They're working right now to stop the legislation. That's the biggest thing, is they're spending a lot of time and effort and money to educate senators mainly about the effects of what it's going to have on business, on how bad it's going to be for the economy, for the country, for employers, for small business, for big business. It affects everybody on a national basis. So that's the biggest thing that's going to happen, is to try and stop it. If it stops, it's great. We're still going to have the same threat that we have right now from unions. That's not going to go away. They're still going to try and organize us. It'll be the same way, though. They're not going to have an easier time. So if it happens, it's what we have to be prepared for. It's better to be proactive than it is to be reactive. So the better education you can have right now on the effects of what this card check could be if it does pass, the better off you're going to be when it comes down. There's contractors out there, I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, that need to be organized. I know some myself, the St. Louis area, that are IEC members. They treat their employees bad. They don't give them benefits, their wages are they just don't treat them good. Those are the prime targets for organizations. And local organizers know that. They know who the targets are, who the easier ones are. We're going to target that. What the biggest thing that you as contractors need to do is work with your people to educate them on what's happening. If you haven't heard a whole lot about a card check system or this act that could happen, you can bet your employees haven't heard anything about it. And the unions probably don't want to tell them anything about it. They don't want to tell them that they're giving up the right to vote. They don't want to tell them the process. They want them just to sign a card. Cards are easy to get signed. There's a lot of underhand things unions can do. Has anybody heard of Marshall Coleman? He's a labor guy that works with IEC quite a bit. He's offers services to merit shop people, to educate them, to work with them to find out how their company stands as far as their employees look at unions. He does a lot of seminars around the country. If you're going to the National Leadership Conference in a couple weeks, he's going to be there giving us a couple of seminars. But he sent out a thing. He does a lot of seminars for a lot of companies that are bigger than most of ours. And he says most of his seminars, he can get somebody to sign anything that's sitting at the table. He'll pass something around, just tell them I need you to sign this. They'll sign it. And how difficult it's going to be for your employees to sign a card. They got somebody there that's big and husky and ugly that's trying to coerce them into signing a card. And the state of New Mexico, the state employees are now organized. The way they did that, the union put on this big fancy party for them. This is what I've heard from our past national president, Rob Heinemann,